President Trump made a big announcement last night. The announcement is that we are staying in Afghanistan. So we're going to send at least 4,000 more troops there. He also hinted at some sort of escalation with Pakistan. He kept bringing them up in the context of, they have to do more. Tremendous. He does the same thing when it comes to North Korea with China, basically trying to say, they have to do more, believe me. So this is, kind of standard Trump at this point. You prod people who are more closely linked with the country in question, and then you also escalate yourself. In the case of Afghanistan, again, it's going to be at least 4,000 more troops. Now, he didn't bring up a specific troop number in his speech, but you have various media outlets that ran with the number 4,000. Why did they run with that number? Because that's what the White House told them. So remember, one of Trump's most ridiculous, well, he's got a lot of ridiculous moments on the campaign trail, but one of the things that had us all facepalming even before he ran for office was when he used to say, I have a super secret plan to defeat ISIS, and here's what I do. I would never share it, because once you share it, ISIS knows about it, and so you have to have the element of surprise, so you don't tell people your plans. So in his speech, he didn't mention a troop number, because he wants to still be able to say, I didn't tell them my plans. But he leaked it to the media through the back channel. The White House leaked the number, which is about 4,000 troops. So he was contemplating for a while maybe privatizing the war in Afghanistan. Oh, well, that's great. It turns out he was convinced to not do that, but he still is going to escalate the troop levels. There are reports that General McMaster showed Trump pictures of the 1970s in Afghanistan when girls were wearing miniskirts and they were more free, that he used that to say, see, we can win in Afghanistan, we can make people more free, we could go back to a situation like this. Of course, that's hilariously ironic, because the reality is, it was the United States arming and funding the Mujahideen in Afghanistan in the 1980s under Ronald Reagan that was, partially, if not directly responsible for the descent of Afghanistan into the current situation that it's in right now. So we armed the Mujahideen. They broke up and became the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, and then they came after us with the weapons that we gave them. We were arming them because they were fighting the big bad Soviet Union. So we arm the fundamentalists, and then we turn around and say, I can't believe they're fundamentalists. We got to fix this. Well, it seems to me like when you partially created the problem, you're probably not the best people to fix it. That crazy idea. This is something Trump used to believe, but he doesn't anymore. So here's why this is so disheartening. John Schwartz and Robert Mackey of The Intercept took a look at all of Trump's comments on Afghanistan, so what his position used to be on Afghanistan. And there's never been a human being on the planet more concrete and straightforward and direct about their opinion on an issue before than Trump was on Afghanistan. Take a look at some of this. In 2013, he said, do not allow our very stupid leaders to sign a deal that keeps us in Afghanistan through 2024, with all costs by USA. Make America great again. We have wasted an enormous amount of blood and treasure in Afghanistan. Their government has zero appreciation. Let's get out. We should leave Afghanistan, and immediately. No more wasted lives. If we have to go back in, we go in hard and quick. Rebuild the U.S. first. I agree with President Obama on Afghanistan. We should have a speedy withdrawal. Why should we keep wasting our money? Rebuild the U.S. Let's get out of Afghanistan. Our troops are being killed by the Afghanis we train, and we waste billions there. Nonsense. Rebuild the USA. Karzai of Afghanistan is not sticking with our signed agreement. They are dropping us like dopes. Get out now and rebuild U.S. 84% of U.S. troops wounded and 70% of our brave men and women killed in Afghanistan have all come under Obama. Time to get out of there. Why are we continuing to train these Afghanis who then shoot our soldiers in the back? Afghanistan is a complete waste. Time to come home. Here's some more. In 2012, he said, it is time to get out of Afghanistan. We are building roads and schools for people that hate us. It is not in our national interests. 2011, he said, when will we stop wasting our money on rebuilding Afghanistan? We must rebuild our country first. Now, if that wasn't clear enough, even though obviously to anybody by the first 2 tweets, you went, I got it. Okay, I see exactly what he believes and exactly what he's pushing for. And by the way, he said this on the campaign trail too. It wasn't like, oh, we were going back to this episode earlier before he was president. No, he said this back then, and he said this on the campaign trail. He repeatedly said, was the only Republican who said, we got to rebuild. What are we doing? We got to rebuild our country here. We got airports that look like third world countries. Rebuild our country here. Stop wasting money overseas. That's what I'm going to do. Make America great again. America first. Remember that? America first. What happened to America first? Apparently it's Kandahar first now, or Kabul first now. You fucking two-faced bitch. But here's the best for last. Donald Trump making comments. I believe this one as well was in 2012. Let's watch.
Afghanistan is a total and complete disaster. What are we doing? We have all of these horrible events taking place there. We can't even run our own country. We don't build our schools. We don't build our highways. We don't build anything anymore. What's wrong with us? What's wrong with our leadership? And now we have Afghanistan, where a man loses his mind and goes around on a killing spree, and the world hates us for it. What is going on? Money should be spent in our country. We should rebuild our country. And we should also, by the way, reduce our $16 trillion in debt. Let's get with it. Get out of Afghanistan. We've wasted billions and billions of dollars, and more importantly, thousands and thousands of lives, not to mention all of these young men and women that come home and they really have problems. Let's go. Let's get with it. We need leaders that know what they're doing.
Nobody was ever more right on an issue than Trump was about Afghanistan until now. He is probably the most public voice, save maybe like Ron Paul, but the most public voice against staying in Afghanistan. And he was that for a very long time. And then now that he's president and he can actually do something about it, does a 180, takes the opposite position. So there's only a few options here. Either he's not really in control. He's a deep state puppet, if you will. So the generals and the neocons are really running everything, and he's just a figurehead, but pretty horrible figurehead, clearly, if that's the case. That's an option. Another option is he's a liar. He's just a liar. He never really believed any of the shit he ever said. And then another option is he's an idiot. He's an idiot who was convinced by incredibly poor arguments. You know, he feels, oh, I'm president now, I gotta put on my big boy pants. Yeah, I'm gonna put on my big boy pants, and I'm gonna do the same bullshit establishment garbage that everybody else does. We've had 2 presidents now who ran, at least partly, because Trump was a mixed bag, he contradicted himself on many issues. Afghanistan, he never contradicted himself. But for other interventions, he contradicted himself a bunch. But you had Obama and you had Trump who ran, at least to an extent, on non-intervention. Obama took office with 2 wars going on. He left with 2 wars still going on and another 5 interventions on top of it. Wow. Trump said a lot of stuff. We gotta rebuild the country, rebuild here, and stop nation building overseas. What happened since he's gotten in office? We're still doing interventions in 7 different places. He escalated many of them. Got rid of the rules of engagement in Somalia, for example, for our drone strikes and whatnot. And now he's escalating further in Afghanistan. And where's the infrastructure bill, by the way? Where is it? We got to rebuild our country, which is why I'm proposing to not rebuild our country and to keep wasting billions of dollars. And actually, wrong, trillions of dollars overseas. Afghanistan is a multi-trillion-dollar money pit. The war in Iraq, $7 trillion money pit. We just covered the story the other day. $1 trillion every year is what it costs to maintain our empire. $1 trillion with all of our wars and all of our bases and all the intelligence apparatus and the Pentagon. $1 trillion every year. Our infrastructure gets a grade of D+. We don't have clean water in Flint, Michigan. Flint, Michigan, among many other places. We got half the country makes $30,000 a year or less. We have over 50,000 homeless veterans, over 400,000 homeless Americans, millions of working poor people. We don't have a living wage as the minimum wage. We don't have health care for everybody. 45,000 people die every year because they don't have access to basic health care. Along comes fuckface McGee arguing, we got to rebuild our country. What are we wasting our money for overseas? What are we wasting our money for overseas? Oh, I got elected and I'm now president. Where do I sign to make us waste more money overseas? He has no core. He has no principles. He has no values. He's an empty shell of a human being. That's what he is. So when that's the case, you could be controlled easily. You can be convinced easily in one direction or another. And he abandoned everything he used to say about this issue. And that's why, by the way, corporate media is praising him. Corporate media is praising him. I can't tell you how many tweets I've seen and how many things have been on the news about, no, he's acting really presidential now. That's what it is. So all it takes for the otherwise hostile corporate media to love Trump is for him to start bombing more shit overseas. It happened with Syria. Remember? Everybody was shitting on Trump and, oh my God, he's crazy and he's a loose cannon and he's this and he's that, which is all true. But then when he started launching cruise missiles at Syrian government air bases, which, by the way, is acting as Al-Qaeda and ISIS's air force, because the Syrian government is fighting Al-Qaeda and ISIS, all of a sudden they're like, oh, so tonight's the night he became president. That was very presidential of him. So he's an unhinged, crazy maniac who we shouldn't trust with the nuclear red button, but we love it when he bombs other stuff. That makes no fucking sense. Same thing. Corporate media, oh, very presidential. Raising troop levels and bombing things, very presidential. So, for those of you who don't know, there was a poll done in 2013. Only 17% of the American people still wanted to be there. That was in 2013. I haven't seen a poll on that since then. You would think that's a poll that people should do, I don't know, maybe every month. Hey, do you still want to have your tax dollars going to fight a war where nobody's even defining victory anymore? Seems like a pretty, something that the American people should be directly involved in. Oh, we're paying for this garbage, for this nonsense? I mean, I haven't seen a poll since then. It was 17% back then, which means we should get out immediately back then. But I'd venture to guess it's probably even half that now. It's not like it's getting more popular. We've just wasted more money, had more Americans die, had more civilians on the Afghanistan side die. And by the way, when we went in there, what was the argument made? Oh, I mean, we got to get Al-Qaeda. We got to get them out. I mean, they attacked us on 9/11. Okay, mission accomplished. There's no more Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. Literally, that's not just me saying it. That's not just some, Code Pink or whatever saying it. No, that's our own intelligence apparatus says that. Yeah, there's no more Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. Okay, why the fuck are you there? Why are you there? Well, you see, after what happened with 9/11, we gotta kill Osama bin Laden. Don't know if you know this. He's done. He's dead. To steal from my buddy Justin Timberlake, he's dead and gone. So what the fuck are you still doing there? It's the same shit they did with Iraq. Well, yeah, Saddam says he was when he was responsible for 9/11, he was working with Al-Qaeda and whatnot. Okay, he's dead too. So why are you still there? Well, Saddam was a bad guy. Right, but he's dead. He had weapons of mass destruction. He's dead, he's gone. What are you talking about? What are you doing there? Perhaps it's not about all the shit that they tell us it's about. Perhaps there's tremendous mineral wealth in Afghanistan, and that's something we want to make sure we have access to. Perhaps their opium crop is, something that we're interested in. Perhaps natural resources is one of the main reasons we're involved in a lot of different places. Maybe that's what's going on. Oh, no, you're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say that. I'm sure we have 900 military bases all around the world, and we have, and we're best friends with Saudi frickin' Arabia, who has the worst human rights record of any country, because we love human rights and we're trying to uphold human rights. This is so disgusting, man. We've wasted trillions of dollars, countless lives, for nothing. We've been there 16 years. The fuck do you think is going to happen? 17th year's a charm. That's it. It'll be a charm, 17th year. This is crazy. There are teenagers who have never known the U.S. not at war. To a 15-year-old, they go, what do you mean? That's what we do. We're always at war. They don't think anything of it. You know, war is a thing. We're supposed to be like, whoa, the country's at war? What the fuck? That's supposed to be a last resort. Not something you jump to and whatever, we just stay there forever. But there are 15-year-olds in the country right now who think like, yeah, what do you mean? I've never known us not being at war. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of lives. It's counterproductive. It creates more enemies. The Taliban controls 40% of Afghanistan right now. Has there ever been a more epic failure? We've been there all this time. The Taliban controls 40%. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? If we stay there longer, we're going to beat them back and they will only hold 38% of the land. And then what do you think is going to happen? If you leave in 10 years or 20 years or 100 years, they're going to take over more territory when you leave. It's either you rip off the Band-Aid now and make it quick, or you rip it off later. And even if you rip it off now, it ain't quick, bitch. You already been there for 16 years. It's not even to say, and the polls show this, that Afghanistan is now more unpopular than Vietnam was, which is crazy when you think about it. But it's not even fair to say Afghanistan is like Vietnam now. It's more fair to say Vietnam is like Afghanistan. You know, people say, oh, the Vietnam, it's like, oh, our blunder. No, it's like our Afghanistan, our blunder. Vietnam is like Afghanistan. Afghanistan's not like Vietnam. He used to say the right things. He used to believe the right things. Now he's president. Now he's doing the exact opposite. What a vapid, vacuous, empty, immoral, unethical loser. That's what Donald Trump is. He has no core. He has no set of beliefs. He's just adrift in the wind in the DC elite establishment bubble. And by the way, Bannon's gone. Probably the only non-interventionist voice in the administration. He's horrible in other ways. Pretty openly racist. But in terms of foreign policy, one of the only non-interventionist voices. And now look at that. Wow. Further escalation. Oh, man. When it appears hopeless, we have to fight twice as hard. So, Justice Democrats are the answer. You guys know that. We talk about it all the time. But we have to get people elected who are gonna... You want to talk about resistance? Resist on this. We just told you, Tim Kaine the other day, we covered the story. He's like, we should stay in Afghanistan. Most Senate Democrats are like, yeah, I secretly agree with this one. So, where's the opposition? The opposition is only, we think you're Vladimir Putin's puppet or something. Yeah. Wow. Strong resistance. You guys are really fighting on serious things. Here's where you need to resist. And the Democrats are nowhere to be found. Corporate media is nowhere to be found. They're heaping praise on them. Justice Democrats are the answer. Go to justicedemocrats.com/platform. Read what we're about. Go to justicedemocrats.com/fight to donate, to get our candidates in there. We got to take down this ineffectual, disgusting Democratic Party, and really this system that's run by corporate Democrats and Republicans. It's run by elites, totally disconnected from the pain, the suffering of the average family, working people. And they're blowing our tax money on stuff like this in the process. It doesn't get any worse than this, man. This is really a dark day in American history.